and got us distracted for a couple of weeks, so I apologize for being late. But hopefully you all received the letters. And the key date to remember is November the 8th. That's going to be the Blessing of the Pledges Sunday, November the 8th. So please do everything you can to get your pledges in by then. And I want to encourage you, as you think about your pledge, to think about what Advent means to you and what you can do to ensure the sustainability of our church community. This year we currently have a shortfall against our budget. We've had deaths, we've had people move, and with COVID-19 we've reduced our church services, and that's reduced our attendance, and it's had a shortfall in our plate offerings, which are usually amount to quite a bit. And then of course our thrift store closed and now has reopened under reduced working hours, so that's limited some of our income too. So hopefully this will turn around in 2021. But as you think about for 2021 is, what I'd like to do is encourage all of you that make pledges on a regular basis to think about maybe your journey toward tithing, and maybe there's an increase there for 21. If there is, we certainly would welcome it. And we have quite a few people that make regular plate offerings but don't pledge. And for you to do that, I would encourage you all to make a pledge. It really helps the vestry when they plan for the next year's budget to have a commitment that's offered through a pledge. And then I'd like to say that I know making a decision about giving is tough. We all have a natural tendency to want to hold on to our treasure, to secure ourselves against an unforeseen financial emergency. I certainly fit into that category, but since I've retired, I've made it a point to try to increase my giving. And surprising to me, this increase in giving has brought me joy and satisfaction rather than anxiety. So, you know, I've heard that often. People have said that, and I never really quite believed them. But now that I've experienced it, I can honestly say that I am a believer. So I challenge you all, as you are able, as you think about your pledge for next year, and rendering back to God part of that which He's given you, to really give some thought to that, because I promise you, gift will bring you joy and peace. And on behalf of the vestry and myself, I'd like to thank everybody for your continued support of the Church of the Advent and your contribution for 2021. And just remember, November the 8th, we'll have the blessing of the pledges. Thank you.
And now a word from Ms. Priscilla.
I've lost my support team. I don't know where they went. They're a vital part of this, so I hope they come back soon. So when Tina asked me to talk today about what Advent has meant to me, it was such an easy task. So it's been, I can't even remember how many years ago, I was going to Christ Church in Pensacola, and Martha called and asked if I were interested in taking the EFM class. And I said, well, I'm actually an EFM mentor. And she said, oh, great. Would you come mentor the group at Advent? So I came, and it was very quickly that I realized I had come to an incredibly loving community. When I first moved down here, I had lots and lots of family who had vacation homes here, but I really didn't have any permanent friends. And very quickly, Advent became my family. Our church is small, hello, but in all my travels around the world, moving 29 times while John was in on active duty, I went to small army chapels, I went to big cathedrals, and nowhere have I found the love and support that I have found here at Advent. Watching how the entire community comes together in Barbecue and Blues and other projects to support our community is just amazing. So I started thinking, look at all the things Advent has done for me, but what have I done for Advent? So the central essence of the biblical worldview of stewardship is managing everything God brings into the believer's life in a manner that honors God. So basically, God is the owner, and I'm the manager. So I began to ask myself, what am I doing to support Advent and to take care of my family? The majority of us voted to have a full-time vicar. And boy, did we get a good one. By trusting God, the right person at the right time came and joined our family. That vote didn't have a caveat. We want a full-time vicar unless we have a pandemic. We want a full-time vicar unless Hurricane Sally hits. It means that we made a decision and now we need each and every one of us to support the decisions that were made. I know, as I've said, Advent is my family, and there's no doubt in my mind of that. And right now, my family is in a time of need. We all need to step up and give. So I want us to think about money in simple terms. It's a trust. It's something God has entrusted to our care, something which belongs to God, but which God has given to us to invest on God's behalf. It's a tool. God expects that we will use it to further God's kingdom here on earth, using it as best we can to reveal God's glory and to relate the gospel to those around us. So it's time to exercise some faith. Let's do it. Step outside your comfort zone and do what God has commanded you to do. And trust God to take care of everything else. You will find that a life surrendered to Christ can accomplish more in a smaller amount of time than one in your control. The same goes for money. Money that is surrendered to God's control goes a lot further and lasts a lot longer than money under your control. Right now, I'm really stressed monetarily because, as you know, like many of you, I had some pretty major damage from Hurricane Sally. But what's important is that God protected me and my precious gifts during that horrendous night. And now my job is not just to focus on what I need, but to remember the blessings that have been given to me and to give back my tithe to God. One of my favorite stories is about the founder of John Deere during the Depression. He was heard saying that if 10% is good enough for God, then 10% is good enough for me. And he actually gave 90% of his profits to his workers and to his community. And lo and behold, he was one of the most profitable companies during the Depression. So I'm here to ask each and every one of us to go home and think about what blessings God has given you. And then ask yourself, how am I going to manage those blessings for the glory of God? So here we go. You ready, Tilly? You gonna sing with me? Ready?
Love is like a lucky penny.
Hold it tight and you won't have any.
Give it away
and you'll have plenty.
You
End up having more. Hallelujah!
Thank you both. Thank you both. Priscilla, thank you. Hank, thank you. And Tilly, thank you. That's the song that Tilly sang that's in this week's newsletter. So you can hear Tilly's song again. I think that may become the anthem for this year's stewardship campaign. If you give away your penny, you will have more. So thank you all. I believe is there any other announcements tonight? Oh, one short announcement. The Daughters of the King will meet on Wednesday at 11 o'clock in Hovde Hall. So Daughters will meet on Wednesday at 11. Well, with that, let us stand and sing our closing hymn.